Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Three Buck Theater, and Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 4, The Last of the Starks, just dropped, and I want to talk to you guys about the ending of the episode, where it finds our main characters, and what I believe it's setting up for the next week's, the penultimate episode of the series. And there's a lot to get through here, so quickly let's jump through. Jon Snow, he is not only right now, I think, in a very, very, very confusing place, but one that's ultimately going to bite him in the ass because he, well, did what he felt was the right thing and told Sansa and Arya, just who he was, that he's, that he's really the son of Rhaegar and Lyanna Stark, and, he's really a Targaryen, and he's kind of banging his aunt, and they now have to deal with that. They now have that visual thing in their mind. They can't get it out of their mind. So much so that Sansa spills the beans to Tyrion, who then tells Varys. And of course, at this point, they realize that 8 people know it. So then it's no longer a secret. It's information. And now that 8 people know it, hundreds are going to know it here soon enough. And then that causes a problem. But we're going to get to that. So Jon is currently on his way to King's Landing with the Dothraki and the Unsullied to basically meet them, surround the city, and try to force Cersei out. Will he succeed? Well, next week is clearly setting up a battle at King's Landing, and so, yeah, I think he's going to do just fine. Daenerys at this point at the end of the episode entirely is going to be taking on the moniker of the Mad Queen. That is coming, and it is earned. It is absolutely earned. So, of course, the episode begins, and she is at the party with everyone, and she's happy. She's happy. She's very happy about the Battle of Winterfell being a success, the Night King being killed, and where to go next. But she starts to realize just how lonely she is. How lonely she is following the death of Ser Jorah, and never mind the fact that she knows Jon Snow's secret. And she sees how everyone is drawn to him and they're not drawn to her in the same way. And there's starting to be that little bit of a jealous mindset. And she does try to talk to Jon and try to tell Jon, please don't tell anyone. We can live together. We can be happy. Just don't tell anyone. And Jon feels morally bound to do it, which is the stupidest thing ever. It's like, Jon, do you want to stop banging your hot aunt, or do you want to be truthful? It's a solid question for Westeros. It really is, given how much incest plays a part in all the strong houses. It's just really, you're just kind of keeping up with tradition. I'm just saying. But now Daenerys has lost Rhaegal after Euron Greyjoy took him out, and that was a hell of a scene. My jaw dropped when that moment hit, and I'm sitting there going like, you got to be kidding me. They freaking took out another dragon. Oh my God. But he was already wounded, so I don't even feel that was like a fair fight. But Dany did the right thing by not engaging Euron Greyjoy's fleet entirely, but somehow they were able to get up Missandei. Right, they're somehow able to get up to capture her, and of course set that up as a whole situation at the end of the episode here. So we know that was a reality. Sansa's up to something, and I don't think I like what it is. At this point, she is kind of the Lady of Winterfell. She's still there. She's still making sure everyone's looked after, everyone's taken care of, which is good for Sansa. But she still doesn't trust Dany. Even though now she knows the entire secret, she still is just kind of probably not too sure what to do about it. But it does kind of feel like if she really wanted to turn the tides and she wanted to turn the people against Dany and for Jon and kind of set him down the path to taking over the Iron Throne, which kind of feels like it, to be honest with you, she might then narc him out to Cersei, which does feel like a Sansa thing to do, because she says in the episode that she's no longer the little bird, because the Hound says to her, if you just would have come with me out of Winterfell, none of this would have happened to you. Littlefinger, Ramsay Bolton, none of it would have happened. And she says, yes, but without those things, I wouldn't be who I am today. I would still be the little bird. And that tells me that she's going to do something very brash and very dumb, because she's going to want to think she's doing it for the right reason. And I just don't see it ending out well for her. I think she's going to live through the series. That is, unless somebody sneaks up to Winterfell at this point and takes her out. I just don't see that happening. So I think she's fine survival-wise for the next couple episodes. But she's gonna throw the wrench into something. I guarantee that one. Arya, Arya is definitely Arya. You know, she was labeled the hero of Winterfell. This coming from Daenerys herself at the party, except she's nowhere to be found. And Gendry seeks her out. He wants to confess his love. He proposes to her, and she tells him no, because that's not the type of person she is, and not the type of person she ever will be. And that's true. She still has names on her list. So she teams up with the Hound. They take off towards King Landing because they have some unfinished business. Obviously, with Arya, it is clearly going to be Cersei, and she's probably riding high a little bit after killing the Night King. Like, I take out the Night King, I can take out this guy. That ain't a problem for me one goddamn bit. But the Hound wants to take out his brother, the Mountain, and that's the fight I want to see. I really, really want to see that, because it's going to be a team up. This ain't going to be an Oberyn Martell situation, which is still probably the best fight scene in the entirety of the franchise. But goddamn, it's going to be a hell of a fight. Tyrion, God bless him. At this point, Tyrion's lost, in my opinion, at this point in time. He tried a bold move, appealing to Cersei's humanity, which clearly failed, and we're going to talk about that. But at this point, he is torn. He knows the secret between Jon and Dany. He knows their family history. He's suggesting marry the two of them together, let them rule side by side. And Varys is saying, "No, well, I mean, yeah, it'd be a good idea, but if you did that, like, you know, she's going to bend him to her will, which he's already done." But is that really such a bad thing? Is that really such a bad thing? It really is the most win-win situation from where we find ourselves right now. And it is the Game of Thrones. So technically Dany would still end up on the Iron Throne, but Jon would be the one everyone would call to. And unfortunately, I think that would kind of work out against him. And Dany would never share the throne. She would never share it. It's to her, it's her birthright. So this is what we're leading up to in regards to where things are. But now that Tyrion knows that Cersei has no humanity left, I don't think he's going to try. But this is where I think Bronn is going to come into the picture, because that interaction between Bronn and Jaime early on, which I loved, because I love to see them all together, it tells me that there's still a little bit more in that story as well. We got Sam. Sam is still at Winterfell. He knocked up Gilly again. I thought that was great. My jaw dropped. I actually got really happy that they got together, that they're going to have another child, and that if it's a boy, they want to name him Jon, so that was pretty great. Gendry, no longer Gendry Rivers, but now Gendry Baratheon. He has been promoted to full name. The Queen Daenerys gave him the title that he doesn't know how he wants to be. What's going on with that? But ultimately, with Gendry, he ran right off to propose to Arya, you know, and I thought that was so sweet. I really loved it. I thought that was fantastic. Jaime is in probably the most interesting position of right now anyone in the episode. It's Jaime, because Jaime is going to be the one to get close enough to Cersei to be the one to take her out. That's my prediction for it. But where we leave him in this episode is so interesting, because he finally for a moment allows himself to be happy. He finally allows himself, and instead of just staying in that moment, he realizes that he can never truly have it. I don't think, not until Cersei's gone or he goes with her. And that was the thing. Him and Brienne finally, after all these seasons, 7 seasons now, really, since season 2, getting together and realizing that they love one another and sharing those moments together, which were really, really, really good. Then we realize that Jaime, as he's explaining to Brienne, he's not a good person. She tries saying that he's a good man, and then he tells her what he's done. He confesses what he's done. And he's like, "I'm not a good man. My sister is hateful, and I'm hateful too." And then he rides off. So to me, that says he's going to kill Cersei. He understands what will happen to everyone at King's Landing if she's allowed to continue on the path she's going, because he knows what she'll do, and he knows how she'll twist people, and she's done it to him. So where he's at right now is one of those things where I am really curious to see what's going to be happening with that. I really want to go. Brienne, I think, had a great arc, but I don't think we're going to see much more Brienne of Tarth out of this one. I really don't. I think Brienne's kind of done. We leave her a slobbering mess as Jaime rides off into the night down towards King's Landing, but Brienne also found love and found happiness for that brief moment. And I think she's going to hold on to that. And I think she might actually take off after Jaime and try to bring him back, and might be that try to pull him back from going into the dark side. And I think that would actually be a great arc for her. Tormund is apparently out. which really shocked me because Tormund is one of my favorite characters. But now that the battle for the White Walkers are gone, the Wildlings have nothing to fear. They don't like being in the north. They want to go back up to the north of the wall. And ultimately, Jon gives him his blessing and says to take Ghost with him. Ghost is absolutely tore up from the episode, but from the battle. But they go off, and that makes me sad. That makes me sad because I love Tormund. I think he's a great character, and I want to see more from him. I think he'd be good in a fight, but him going to the south, it would be nothing but constant bitching. So maybe we're lucky as fans that he's going to be going back up to the north, but I don't think we're done with him yet in the series. The Hound, as I pointed out, he is with Arya and he is heading down to King's Landing. But what I love about the Hound is the beginning part of the episode, he's drinking, he can go off and have sex with a wench. You know, Tormund does it, and the Hound is always just angry and bitter because he has unfinished business. But he also is such a he has a heart, and he actually does care. And he did try explaining that to Sansa, like, if you would have come with me, things would have been different. And ultimately, at this point, you know, Sansa, like I said, she explains to him that could never have happened the way that if she was to be the person that she is now. And I think the Hound at that point realizes he is entirely on a mission to end his brother, to end that terror. And I think that's what his goal is. And Arya is going to be the best wingman he can have, because I do love those two together. They have great chemistry. Davos is still Davos. He didn't really have much to do in this episode. Not at all. You know, he talked a little bit about Melisandre and her death, and then he toasted Gendry, and that's about it. We're going to get a lot more Davos, I think, as we go forward. But again, he's still one of my favorite characters, even though he didn't have much to do in this episode. There was a lot going on. And Cersei. She's a monster. We now know that more than ever. Tyrion tried playing to her better interests, the interests of her children. But remember the prophecy, right? There's the prophecy. She will outlive her children. She's already done that with 3. She's got one more in the oven. One that she's actually, she's lying to Euron Greyjoy about it being his, when we all know it's Jaime's. Because he's the only one that can just get her pregnant. And at this point now, she's lost, but she is desperately trying to hold on to whatever she can. So she's using all of those crazy ass tactics of trying to turn the people of King's Landing against Daenerys, and use that as a way to sow favor in her direction. And I don't think it's going to work as well as they want, considering what happens to Missandei. I did not see this coming at the beginning of the episode, but when she was captured, I figured it was going to happen. We know that they need to start wiping out cast members. They need to start thinning the herd a little bit. But Missandei went out in a way that I felt was very motivating for Daenerys to become the Mad Queen, as well as Grey Worm to straight up lose his shit and go after them. I think what we're going to see in regards to Grey Worm is going to be teaming up with the Hound and Arya to take out the Mountain. I think he's gunning for them, and he ain't going to stop till he gets blood. And I think I think that's going to be a hell of a fight. But now he's got the motivation to do it. So one could argue to an extent that, like, Missandei, her character just kind of like, they ran out of usefulness for her in this episode a little bit, but or just in the series, kind of. She was an advisor, but she's also just kind of like there for quite a bit. For the last couple seasons, to be fair. But her death was not in vain. It was definitely meant to propel the story along. And I like that she yelled out Dracarys at the end. I like that she yelled that out, signaling to Daenerys, rain hellfire, rain it, burn him out. Because she knew she was dying, but she wanted to inspire her queen once more and also show her undying loyalty to her queen. And she didn't cry. She didn't whimper. She went out like a champ. And I felt that was great. I was not happy that she died. I did like the character, even though I felt they haven't done much with her recently. But that's where it's at. Again, just because I don't have enough space on this, we have Varys, who really is just, at this point, I think, prepping to kill Dany. I think Varys at this point is 100% on team Jon Snow, and he is going to do what he feels is in the best interest of the realm, of the Seven Kingdoms, and that is going to be instilling Jon Snow as the king. which means he's going to be the one that's going to be going out there and leaking all that information to his little birds, who are going to spread it around to the different lords of of Westeros, and they're going to be the ones that are going to be going out and telling everyone that Jon is truly, he is not only a Stark but a Targaryen, that Daenerys is his aunt, and that he is the true king, the true claim to the Iron Throne. And that's going to throw a real wrench in what's going forward, because Dany's losing it. Not as bad as her father, not as bad as Aerys, because Aerys went mad. Aerys wanted to burn everyone with wildfire, and Dany has fought for years to not be her father, to not be her brother, to not be her bloodline. And here we find her at a situation where she's going to have to basically make that choice. And she already kind of did in the episode. She kind of did. And at this point in time, she is furious. She is angry. She is lost her best friend. She has lost her child, another child, in the span of the last couple months, really. Although, given how fast things happen in the show now, pacing wise, it could be like 3 days. And so now she's got one dragon left and up against an entire well-defended King's Landing. So that's where the episode ends. That's where we are right now. Next week's going to kick off, and then whatever happens after that's going to be wild as hell. But of course, I'm going to talk about it. What are your thoughts, your opinions? Let me know down in the comments below. If you haven't already, please thumbs up the video, subscribe, and check back often for more content from me. Have yourself a great day, and peace out, everyone.